Hey everyone, Cool Kid here, and welcome back to Volume 13 of the show where we get your favorite bugs patched. I'm not bragging, trust me, I'm coping. Spoiler warning like always, and without further ado, let's rock. Revenant actually has two different types of thralls, called Alpha and Beta thralls. Alpha thralls are created when Revenant enthralls an enemy directly, or when an Alpha thrall damages an enemy and converts them. When Alpha thralls die, they produce a plume of fire that converts enemies to Beta thralls when they damage them. Beta thralls convert enemies they hit into other Beta thralls, and they do not spawn plumes of fire on death. Different bows have different visual effects when their arrows strike a surface. Limbo can freeze his own projectiles in the Simulacrum or Captura if friendly fire is enabled. Alchemy's name doesn't appear in all caps when it shows up as a fissure. Pillage's shield strip is treated as damage, so Roar increases the strip amount as it also boosts ability damage. Loke Surges can spawn the unique Alchemy Eximus units in addition to normal Eximus. Shadows of Acolytes spawned by Misery can be corrupted, while normally Acolytes cannot be corrupted. During his boss fight, Kullervo's phase transition animations can be skipped by getting on a Kaith or opening the pause menu in addition to transfer and surge. Twin Comac shows identical pistols in its arsenal icon, but they're asymmetrical when equipped. Ureli is considered a child object of Maralina, meaning she can't be disarmed or take decompression damage while riding her. There's honestly a lot of weird stuff with Ureli because of Maralina. She could genuinely have her own video at this point. Right-clicking on helmet abilities shows the augments they can use, including Conclave augments. Energy drain effects, like Energy Drain Nightmare missions, can spawn companions via Duplex Bond. Destroying decorations in the labs will spawn papers that actually have Orokin and Corpus text on them. Speaking of, all of the various text around the game is actually translatable, from Corpus to Orokin, Grineer, Ostron, Solaris. All of them have alphabets that you can actually look up and use to translate things if you ever want to. Rogue Voidrigs in the Codex use an Akmazalon instead of Arcabex. Some Eximus units have different color palettes than their normal counterparts. Double tapping the weapon swap key while aiming can prolong the effects of Death Trap trigger without actually switching the weapon. You can also quickly double tap weapon swap to save shots on Vastos and Karnan form. Aquablades can't break older sabotage reactors like on Mars and Ceres, but it can break newer ones like those on Corpus and Grineer ships. Under the crosshair, these dots actually show what ability you have selected and what's active. White means it can be cast, gray means it's either active or can't be cast, and colored means it can be cast and is the currently selected ability. Maralina will lower to let Ureli interact with certain objects, such as hackable terminals. Oberon Prime's shoulder armor is mounted entirely incorrectly in its arsenal preview. Different skins can change the look of certain abilities, as can being a prime or non-prime. For example, Nidus's virulence looks different based on if you're using the deluxe skin, are primed, or are the base Nidus. Hydroid's Kraken also changes in appearance based on the same criteria. Enemies affected by Chaos will show any alternate helmets Nyx has equipped. Mirage clones seem to always do full heavy attack combos on many projectile shooting melees, like Corafel, Siam, Tenet Agendis, and Stropha. Strophades nuts. Sorry. Feral Kubros can carry pickups in their mouths when they aren't alerted, bringing them back to their dens. Ureli can reload while rolling on Maralina, even though rolling normally interrupts reloads. Culverins have various idle animations of either sitting or fixing things when they aren't alerted. It's a Disco Elysium reference. They have the right to work. I somehow have my melee equipped. Okay. Orb. This... Oh my god, no! No, the whole contraption! Guys, I just cost the taxpayer thousands of fucking dollars. Oh, it's all gone to waste. Oh, good thing I don't file my taxes. That would have made that a lot more upsetting. Normally, entering Duviri with any blank weapon slot will auto-assign a weapon to that slot, but this is not the case with melees on Garuda, which allows her to use her talons. Vauban's actual vortex and the ball that spawns it are two different things, which rarely causes them to desync as the ball is only a client-side visual. Deimos Tendril drones will copy your Arcwing's colors when they grab you. The Bolter Bravura skin from Octavia's Deluxe Collection has a unique idle animation. Pausing while channeling Thurible does not stop the animation of the ability. Corrupted crewmen wield arcoplasmors that fire pellets like traditional shotguns, which is likely left over from when they used to wield struns. A weapon's charge-up sound speed is affected by fire rate mods. Though Tapato's testing showed this is not the case for at least the following weapons. It's possible to wallhop off of Octavia's ability balls while they're in flight. Certain map elements can inherit the visual effects from the melee combo counter. The Dagger Axe skins for Dual Zorin and Cindo mention them having Rubido blades, but Rubido is not required to make any of the skins or weapons. Gruslings do not flee from invisible players. The grates in the ceiling of this Orokin puzzle room have no collision. Sentinels can get stuck on geometry, like doors. Valkyr's passive, which resists hard landings, does not work in social spaces. Barrow's Void Raider mission shows him using dual Sestras in the mission preview, but he actually wields an Akalex when in mission. You can't ground slam with a glaive while aim gliding, but you can heavy slam. Dante's roll has a lot of Void Tongue in its sound effects, and also seems to go much farther than a typical roll on account of it being longer. The tendrils from the Lok's Embrace ephemera have their shadows spawn much sooner than they actually appear. Firing Noctua on Dante drags all particles into a vortex centered on Noctua, which is most obvious with particles set to max. The name and health of the reactive crystal in the Sanctum Simulacrum occasionally moves and bounces around. Certain doors have ceilings too low for Wrathful Advance to teleport through. Dante is the only frame to cost 350 platinum in the market, and similarly the starter frames are uniquely 75 platinum. Razorflies are affected by certain mods equipped on Dewata, such as Condition Overload, Elemental or Physical Damage, Crit Chance and Damage, Faction Damage, and Attack Speed, as well as buffs like Eclipse and Nourish. Companion clones from Duplex Bond still spawn in Razorwing despite Titania's companion normally disappearing. Melee attacks can be performed during Redline's casting animation. Melee attacks that send you forward can have their momentum multiplied by using abilities that make you jump but maintain your velocity, such as Firewalker, Preserving Shell, Shroud of Dynar, Axios Javelin, and Grenade Fan, among a few others. Exodia Contagion's projectiles will not be stopped if they kill an enemy on impact, which lets them explode multiple times. Picking up a Syndicate Medallion as your operator or while on Marilena will show the amount remaining as the second number, and will always show 1 as the first number. This is in contrast to the normal UI, which shows the amount collected as the first number, and the total amount as the second number. The bracket of Amoa is the only component that isn't in all caps when viewing its modular parts. Certain skins, such as the Rubido-plated Rhino skin and the phased Vauban skin, will be changed to use the Prime model when equipped on the Prime variant of the frame. Gara's Splinter Storm will scale in damage from other Garas in her squad detonating their Vitrify wall. Gloom does not slow the rotation speed of Ramparts, but it does slow their fire rate. Despite normally having a transparent background, a faint background can be seen when putting certain glyphs on the railjack. Ventkid Graffiti appears at any site where a K-Drive race could be started, even if a race isn't present that day. Mesa can fire Peacemakers through this window in the void, and while I don't doubt there are others, this ties into Peacemaker being a very weird ability under the hood that I don't think I've got time to explain. Save it for the Exalted Weapon video in 2035. If you mind control a Culverin after removing its arms, it won't explode, even after the mind control effect ends. Venari is counted as an Osprey by Nightwave if killed in the Conclave. Nautilus's Cordon Precept can move the Narmer pillars in Archon hunts. If you don't have Rakshan Dynar equipped on Varuda, you can still see a spectral version of them during various idols. Maxing your standing limit with the Kavia has a different message than any other Syndicate in the game. Enemies with their AI turned off in the Simulacrum will be re-enabled if they're disarmed. Credit boosters obtained from login rewards are inconsistently worded. Hydroid still charges up his 1 in its ability preview video, which is a remnant of his pre-reworked kit. When loading into a mission, there's a small chance this text will appear over your screen. I'll go ahead and put the translation of it on screen now. In Iron Wake, you can find this dumpster containing flawed mods available for purchase. These are a remnant of older Warframe, being rewards for completing junctions and the like, which were swapped out for the regular versions of each mod. To avoid getting rid of them entirely though, they can be bought here as a little piece of history. The Retribution mod shows Rhino holding the old Burst-On model. On the Zeraman, there appear to be several tiles that were once planned to be used for extraction, but for whatever reason were never used for such. It'd honestly be kinda nice if you could use these to just go straight back to your orbiter. On PC, mashing both E and space at the same time will let you break Veils twice as fast when playing Call. Colorbow's Recompense won't damage his health or overguard if Rolling Guard is active when the knives hit. Ghoulsaw stops spinning when the player is walking, but starts again when you stop. Stopping time in Captura makes Bubonico's projectiles completely vanish. Dante's Prex card can be interacted with when placed, having the same dialogue from Drussus that plays when you first pick it up in the Laverian. Zakti's projectiles don't inherit its color scheme, and this also extends to the Prime. Inaros' Sandstorm can be cancelled early with a melee attack. This wall in the Intradiolab spawn room has no collision, which lets you waltz right outside the map. When entering your operator in Duviri, your Warframe will turn invisible and be locked in place. This is in contrast to normal gameplay where they normally remain visible, are affected by gravity, and can be pushed around by physics like explosions. Exodia Brave has an odd stacking mechanic where gaining a new stack refreshes the buff's timer, but any heavy attack kills at the maximum of 3 stacks do not refresh the timer. These LEDs on Nyx's body are misaligned, as they were brought over from Excalibur and not adjusted after the base textures were altered to account for her differing body shape. Daggeth's animation sets appear to have unique poses for tomes. It, bugs out constantly, though. Dante's animation set also has unique tome poses, which makes sense considering he uses an exalted one. Speaking of tomes, picking up secondary or universal ammo drops grants them alt-fire charge. When spawning a Kuvalich, your UI theme gets reset to default, though this is normally not noticeable as you can't interact with any menus. The quick travel wheel does show this off though. Even stranger, if you access a menu before this pop-up appears, you'll have 2 UI themes spliced together temporarily. Ayatan sculptures actually don't move when you're not looking at them, which is reflected in their shadows. Grendel can eat the Narmer security cameras found in Archon hunts. Alright, that's everything for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and a big thanks to everyone who submitted entries for this episode. Remember to like and sub and all that stuff. I've got limited time here, okay? Most of you are gone by now. Huge thank you to the channel members who help fund my chicanery on this channel and are immortalized on my eThought whiteboard. With all of that out of the way, feel free to stop by the streams or check out my other stuff if you want more brain damage, and join the Discord if you want a guaranteed digital lobotomy. Beyond that, I'll see you all again when I definitely actually release the Exalted Weapon video. Soon. What the fuck? Huh? What the